Let's start with this non-confidence vote yesterday. You had said previously that you would only vote non-confidence in the government if it was in the best interests of Quebec. That motion yesterday was designed to almost embarrass Jagmeet Singh. Why is that something the Bloc Québécois voted for?
Oh, first, I believe that Mr. Singh deserves to be embarrassed because the way he behaves is renouncing his responsibility as the leader of an opposition party.
So yesterday, one of the more unfortunate things happened in the House as we witnessed the third vote of non-confidence get shut down. And now, looking at a lot of the comments from yesterday's video, a lot of you are not surprised that Jagmeet and the NDP supported this and actually did help keep the Liberals in power. And apparently, so did some of the mainstream media.
Well, 2 wins for the Liberals today. Justin Trudeau faced his third non-confidence vote in the House and survived as expected.
Yep, it was to be expected, I guess. But as you heard from the opener, some of the mainstream media is more concerned about how it makes Jagmeet Singh look, that Pierre Poilievre did this solely to embarrass him. But the leader of the Bloc said, yeah, and he deserves all the embarrassment that comes his way because Jagmeet has done this to himself and his party. And I actually got to witness some of the hypocrisy from his party members who voted against the non-confidence bill. Today, when reporters were asking them about this recent development with Trump again and how he views Canada and Trudeau, we'll get into that in a second, but listen to their answer to these questions.
Mr. Bouleris, what do you think?
But some question Trudeau's ability to manage Trump.
We can see right now that President Trump doesn't respect Mr. Trudeau, and it worries me.
I don't think Mr. Trudeau's handling the domestic political situation well. I have less confidence he'll be able to do it internationally.
Now hold on, wait a minute. Let's play what he just said back.
I don't think Mr. Trudeau's handling the domestic political situation well. I have less confidence he'll be able to do it internationally.
How very strange. These two seem to not have confidence in him, but voted to keep him in during the non-confidence vote. Like, make it make sense. How does anybody take the NDP seriously? Or the Liberal Party? These guys are a bunch of clowns. How do you vote against the non-confidence vote and then come onto the media the next day saying you don't have confidence in Trudeau dealing with Trump, being on the international stage, let alone the domestic stage, but you still voted to keep him in power? Like, how do you square that circle? Can somebody please explain to these guys how it makes no sense whatsoever? But as we move away from all this, the topic at hand is yesterday Trump released another one of those tweets or truths, whatever he calls them, and it's kind of just taken over the media, not just the Canadian media, but internationally, the Indian media, the Australian media, even some of the American media, as you're going to see here.
Forget niceties and protocols. We are seeing the Trump playbook of diplomacy, which is trolling the weak. Let me show you his recent message on social media. I'm quoting, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade." It's not the best way to engage with your neighbor, but when that neighbor is Justin Trudeau, I guess it doesn't really matter.
The Prime Minister and Premiers will reconvene tomorrow to talk strategy. They're charting the progress they've made since U.S. President-elect Donald Trump threatened Canada with punitive tariffs. There's plenty to chew over, including a provocative social media post from Trump. The CBC's Marina von Stackelberg has the latest for us from Ottawa.
We know that Trump has been making this joke that Canada should be the 51st state of the United States and that Justin Trudeau could be the governor. And we know that Trump joked about this already once when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau flew down to the United States to dine with Trump.
Now, this is an interesting part that they're bringing up about Trudeau flying to Mar-a-Lago to have dinner with Trump. And a lot of the Liberals keep using this as a little talking point, saying, well, Trudeau was the first leader of a G7 nation to go to Mar-a-Lago to have dinner with Trump.
We did ask cabinet ministers here in Ottawa heading into their meeting today what they thought of Trump's comments. Have a listen.
The very first meeting that the president had with a G7 country was with Prime Minister Trudeau. That seems serious.
One thing that you should take note is that Prime Minister Trudeau was the first leader of the G7 to be hosted by President Trump. I think that is really significant. That is a testament to the strategic nature of our relationship.
However, if we take a look at the interview that Trump just had with NBC the other day, he kind of sees the speed in which Trudeau arrived in Mar-a-Lago a little bit differently.
That takes me to my next question. Yeah. Are you actually going to impose these tariffs, or are they a negotiating tactic?
Well, I'll give you an example. With Canada, and in particular Mexico, we have millions of people pouring into our country. You agree with that. I spoke with I spoke with Justin Trudeau. In fact, he flew to Mar-a-Lago within about 15 seconds after the call. And he was at Mar-a-Lago. We were having dinner talking about it.
Now, as you could see from Trump's chuckle there, he thought it was pretty pathetic how fast Justin hopped on his jet and flew over to Mar-a-Lago after having this little conversation about the tariffs. And this is why Pierre Poilievre keeps saying that Justin is too weak. He's a weak individual. We need somebody stronger in our leadership. Because if we take a look at Justin's response when he was asked just the other day at the Chambers of Commons in Halifax about the tariffs, this is what he said he would do to kind of fight back.
I'm going to jump right into probably one of the most critical items, which are tariffs. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce has released alarming new figures on the potential economic fallout of the proposed tariffs on U.S. imports, and that was before those threatened tariffs were mentioned at 25%. I guess what is being done by the Canadian government and you yourself personally to ensure that Canadian-U.S. trade relations remain healthy, and that if tariffs are imposed, how can we adapt?
Well, first of all, let's not kid ourselves any way, shape, or form. 25% tariffs on everything going to the United States would be devastating for the Canadian economy. And I think people south of the border are beginning to wake up to the reality that tariffs on everything from Canada would make life a lot more expensive for Americans. So that's part of the argument. The other part is we will, of course, as we did 8 years ago, respond to unfair tariffs in a number of ways. And we're still looking at the right ways to respond. But our responses to the unfair steel and aluminum tariffs were what ended up lifting those tariffs last time. It wasn't that Americans were paying more for their steel and aluminum, although that was annoying to some people in the States. It was the fact that we put tariffs on bourbon and Harley-Davidsons and playing cards and Heinz ketchup and cherries and a number of other things that were very carefully targeted because they were politically impactful.
Like, this is the guy that we have representing us as a country, and he's on the stage talking about the last time they fought against the steel and aluminum tariffs from the US. They tariffed them on playing cards, Heinz ketchup, and cherries, among other things, on a political basis. These were the best options that you gave after bourbon and Harley-Davidsons, which also are so random. We're talking about steel and aluminum, things that we need for construction. And he's here bragging about playing cards, Heinz ketchup, and cherries. It's no wonder why everyone keeps laughing at this guy, calling him a weak leader, and just waiting for him to leave. But as always, this is just the way I look at it. I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about all this in the comment section below? And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.